This is Slow-Mo Joe, and this is the vehicle of expression woven into words. It is the Slow-Mo Joe Timeless Poetry Show featuring Twilight Cricket, and I am Slow-Mo Joe.
Twilight Cricket here, ready to read some poetry.
And this is episode 1 of Slow-Mo Joe.
Dig it. So, what do you got to read? Who's going first?
Okay. I have a poem.
That's a good thing, being that this is a poetry show.
Yes. Yes, Twilight Cricket. I agree. I shall go first.
Sounds fair.
It is from the readings of Joseph Evaldi, Apparitions Warrior. This is a poem. It is called Live Now, I Want to Break This Trap. I am trapped in my environment. I look for one thing, yet have I really looked? I've done many things, and I've alienated the only thing I actually needed. It was the only thing I ever wanted. What am I going to do now? Should I stay here trapped from what I want? Or should I find what I'm looking for? Choices are challenging me, and confusion is the end result. I want to improve myself by living more. I want to live the outside life more than being inside. I want it strong enough. I am ready that I have to stop procrastinating. It's time to do something now.
Right on. Good delivery system there, Slow-Mo Joe.
And this was out of my archives of Joseph Evaldi.
That's Joseph Evaldi's poetry. Right on.
Yes.
Well, that's vital and delivered well. So I have a poem that Richard Andrew Olkusz wanted me to read. It's out of a book that's now on Amazon Kindle called The Muses, Signs and Wonders. It's in part 2. This is called Angel of Beauty. The thunder comes drifting out on the horizon of the city. The streets quake in throbbing anxiety of the angry sky. Gray-brown floods overhead as the wind shifts and displaces the hair of the busy pedestrians trying to make it to safety. Whirling wisps of dust follow the change of moist air as a flock of little girls running with their mother scream with piercing squeals. They fear the storm as they flee from the inevitable deluge. One of them cries from fright, although I am at total peace. Suddenly, amid the crumbling ghettos, sweating wooden porches, and hazy blue sky, walking slowly down the street is a transforming language of beauty yet to be spoken. The embers retreat as the flame spurns the shadowy forest. She gently strolls into the glade of my mind, bringing all around her the diamond of rippling light. My eyes are the mouths of the universe, each hungry maw licking with tenacity the sharp-fanged mechanism of observation. Suddenly I am drained of all fatigue. Harsh killers wilting before her gravitational harvest, smooth contours of hips swing and a flower petal of denim, edged blue to tan, as if in a desert horizon in mirage. I can see the orange sunrise. It hides deep within your eyes. 1,000 hells separate our touch. All the world is a foreign land without knowing the caress of your hand. Like a graceful deer, you run through the forest of my mind, racing here and there. If I have time to marvel your beauty, your eyes seem fierce. I am no hunter, my love. Great clouds hang like a veil, slowly darkening the countryside. Yet we are together in this distant museum of my ever-wandering mind. Silver shadows of moonlight, gathering sweet magic from your soft skin and contentment from your smile. We both meld into the moonlight, lost to all except ourselves, in a world we must know is sacred. Angel of beauty, sing the tempest sullen away from my weary heart. Winged Venus straying from clouds divine, for the brave fool to covet, for the fierce warrior to study, for the golden poet's eyes to dream.
Very good.
That was Angel of Beauty, out of the Muses, Signs and Wonders, the poetry of Richard Olkusz. You can buy it on Kindle.
I like the vivid imagery of the midnight and the angels.
I can dig it, yeah?
Poetic harmony.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what's going on, Slomo?
I have a poem.
Let's hear it.
It's a quick one.
That's cool. Shorties are besties sometimes.
It's called The Vision of a Rock. I want to dance in the sunset and feel the breeze of the night. I want to feel this feeling through to the morning. I want to relax and enjoy life. Instead, it's now congested. I want to breathe the fresh air during the day. I want to stare at the moon as the night rolls around. I want to see the stars shine. I watch as the rocks fall down the mountain. Imagine you falling 100 miles down the mountain. Try to fight the resistance. No help. I'm the rock. Fall.
Ooh, wow, that one was good. That snuck up on me.
Yeah.
That's pretty groovy, man.
That is Joseph Evaldi. Apparition of the War.
Check it out. Is that on Kindle, Slomo?
It's on Kindle.
This is Slow-Mo Joe's Poetry Show on the Joseph Evaldi Network. I'm Twilight Cricket, an emissary of the Olkusz Network. I just wanted to tell you really quick about one of our channels we have going on there. That is Quantum Poesy. Quantum Poesy typically features the poetry of Richard Andrew Olkusz. And he reads his work and has some guests on. What we're plugging right now is not only his books of poetry, he has 3 on Amazon, but we're also plugging his spoken word recording from 2004, Machinations of the Cybernetic Phantom God. That's on Quantum Poesy on the Olkusz Network. The Olkusz Network, audiobooks, poetry, spoken word, talk, paranormal investigations, a creative podcast, a creative baptism for every day. Check us out on Spreaker.com.
I am Slow-Mo Joe, and Joseph Evaldi asked me to plug one thing for him. And that was A Soul Warrior's Journey. It is a story of a guy with addiction problems who bumps into an acupuncturist. And he helps some of his dreams, and they even take a journey into Egypt. It's a very good book. Soon to be audiobook in November, December. Check it out.
Dig it, dig it. So, those were our plugs. Now, back to the poetry. I'm Twilight Cricket, and I'm here reading some poems by Richard Olkusz. This is a poem from another one of his poetry books, The Muse's Subjective Hypernova of Poesy. This is called Vacation 2013. I see the mountains rise up and they consume me. Green contrasts contort car-speeded trees into dragon scales catching golden sunlight, passing into the rolling hills and dales of sacred Sparta. The day passed away with laughter, and shaded twilight yielded to the night. At the lake, our first world terrors dispersed in so much billowing mist in the dawn. Remembering who we are in the self, and joined by the tribe, the hive be damned. Let us be faithful to ourselves and try to love our own personal truthfulness. Control is judgment is darkness. Let us remember the light in all doings. The old is reconciled with the new. In newness, they are yet perceived as olden. Wind fire cooking hamburgers, the grills seem ready to explode. Delicious fare and fire smoke brought our hearts nearer to the stars. Sweet pale Luna shimmering her cosmic seduction. It danced from out of the sky into my soul. Nature is unprocessed art, and I believe its many iterations have meaning. Water moccasins stalk the waters at dockside, trying to get nibbles of the fish freshly caught. An otter tossed himself in the nocturnal stillness and snorted his splashing way in the darkness. Drink and mime theater with old friends, our hearts blown away by the memories relived. It is the path we took and the destiny we were meant to take from the start. Brilliant sunlight is fluid gold on a windy reflection of a honeyed blueberries and cream sky. The perfect expression of purpose. Chopping wood for warding of the flesh, autumn's chill. Play the game to play. Remember your gospel, even on folly-footed paths. Follow me, my friends, into a world of peace, a world of the tribe's needs, and a selfless identity, the brethren weaving recollection into the preciously unfolding now, calling out our visions and surety. That was Vacation 2013 from the Muse's Subjective Hypernova of Poesy by Richard Olkusz. You can buy that book on Amazon Kindle.
All I thought about when I was picturing the setting of the poem was a golden sky with people with kilts in their clans. Kind of reminiscent how things work back then.
So yeah, you taking it out into the ancient landscape, and that vacation was that was a pretty special time. I remember Ricky talking about that, like it was really cool. I mean, he got a poem out of it, so. So what do you got for us, Slow-Mo Joe? The hour is late.
I'm gonna read one poem, and then I'll read a famous poet's poem.
Right on. Lay it on us.
But I'm gonna start with my poem, and then I'll hand it to you, and then I'll read the famous person's poem. Here we go. This is From Apparitions of a Warrior by Joseph Evaldi. It is the hidden key to me. I was lost upon every challenge. It was the challenge of evil. It persuaded me to believe what was once hidden. I was then showed what I covered up, who I was. Still the journey continued on, and the struggle turned to peace. In a path to find my clear mind, my emotions deceived me, and I didn't want to see but I saw. Days went by, and the minutes had ticked. I was destined, but I wanted to know why. There were many hours and months of reading, and I lived and living. I guess I can't hide from what's on the inside. This made me discover what's been wrong and what I've been lacking. In this day, I see that I shouldn't be fooled. In seeing what I thought was right, I was hoping for the impossible. I just prayed to God, that I saw the truth in people. Help me to prepare and face them. Tomorrow is a challenge, and we always face it. However, we are willing to put aside our fears to see the difference.
Right on. Sounded pretty tasty, man.
Yes. It was written, Joseph Evaldi told me, in around 2009.
Very cool, very cool. So we just got some good poesy from Joseph Evaldi, read by Slow Mo Joe. And Twilight Cricket here. I'm going to read one of Ricky's favorites from the great poet Wilfred Owen. Wilfred Owen, he has, it's just called Poems. The book is called Poems. And this is Spring Offenses. Halted against the shade of a last hill, they fed, and lying easy were at ease, and finding comfortable chests and knees, carelessly slept. But many there stood still, to face the stark, blank sky beyond the ridge, knowing their feet had come to the end of the world. Marveling they stood, and watched the long grass swirl by the May breeze, murmurous with wasp and midge. For though the summer oozed into their veins like the injected drug for their bones, pains, sharp on their souls hung the eminent line of grass. Fearfully flashed the sky's mysterious glass. Hour after hour they pondered the warm field and the far valley behind, where the buttercups had blessed with gold their slow boots coming up, where even the little brambles would not yield, but clutched and clung to them like sorrowing hands. They breathed like trees unstirred, till like a gold gust thrilled the little world, at which each body and its soul begird and tightened them for battle. No alarms of bugles, no high flashes, no clamorous haste, only a lift and flare of eyes that faced the sun, like a friend with whom their love is done. O larger shone that smile against the sun, mightier his whose bounty this has spurned. Soon they topped the hill and raced together over an open stretch of herb and heather, exposed, and instantly the whole sky burned with fury against them, and soft sudden cups opened in thousands for their blood, and the green slopes chasmed and steepened sheer to infinite space. Of them who running on that last high place leapt to swift unseen bullets, or went up on the hot blast and fury of hell's upsurge, or plunged and fell away past this world's verge. Some say God caught them even before they fell. But what say such as from existence' brink ventured but drave too swift to sink? The few who rushed in the body to enter hell, and there out-fiending all its fiends and flames with superhuman inhumanities. long famous glories, immemorable shames, and crawling slowly back, have by degrees regained cool, peaceful air and wonder. Why speak they not of comrades that went under? And that was by Wilfred Owen from his book Poems.
Wow.
Yeah, see, Wilfred Owen will do that to you with almost everything. He fought in World War One, and he saw terrible, terrible things that his muse reveals to us. Always a great thing for the mood, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So
Maybe.
that's the more famous poem. And now we hand it off to you, Slow Mo Joe.
Okay. I'm going to read a poem by Allen Ginsberg. It is February 29th, 1958. Last night, I dreamed of T.S. Eliot welcoming me to the land of dreams. Sofas, couches, fog in England, tea in his digs, Chelsea rainbows, curtains on his windows, fog seeping in the chimney, but a nice warm house, and an incredible, sweet hook note. Eliot, he loved me, put me up, gave me a couch to sleep on, conversed kindly, took me serious, asked my opinion on Mayakovsky. I read him Corso, Creeley, Kerouac, advised Burroughs, Olson, okay, the bearded lady in the zoo, the intelligent puma in Mexico City, 6 chorus boys from Zanzibar who chanted in worn-out polyglot Swahili and the rippling rhythms of Ma Rainey and the Kalenzi. On the Isle of the Queen, we had a long evening's conversation. Then he tucked me in my long red underwear under a silken blanket by the fire on the sofa. Gave me English hot and went off sadly to his bed, saying, "Ah, Ginsberg, I am glad to have met a fine young man like you." At last, I woke, ashamed of myself. Is he that good and kind? Am I that great? What's my motive dreaming his manner? What English department would that impress? What failure to be perfect? Profits made up here. I dream my kindness, T.S. Eliot, wanting to be a historical poet and share in his finance of imagery,
Sure.
over-ambitious dream of centric boy. God forbid my evil dreams come true. Last night I dreamed of Allen Ginsberg. T.S. Eliot would have been ashamed of me.
Man, that's great. I gotta tell you, I'm fluent in the beatniks, just like Ricky is. And not only is that poem, it's great because Ginsey goes from arrogant to misgivings and up and down the roller coaster. But that poem is not only a typical one of his, ethereal. I mean, he has sets it in a dream. What's better than that? That's typical of him. And furthermore, the poem has a roster for beat poets.
Yeah.
That's what he reads, T.S. Eliot. He said Corso, that's Gregory Corso. He said Creeley, that's Robert Creeley. And he said Kerouac, that's Jack Kerouac. He mentions Burroughs, but he neglected to mention Gary Snyder. That he is a beat poet. But it's basically almost, there's a few missing, but that's a tight roster of beat poets that he's reading in the dreams of T.S. Eliot. So it's like, that's just fantastic. Very Allen Ginsberg, man.
He was humble at the end.
Because he understood, even in the world of the timeless dream, that it's still T.S. Eliot that he's talking to. And who is he? Little did Ginsey know what he would become, that we're reading his work now.
All I gotta say is, it was interesting to read about how the world was in 1958 and how everything was back then. And it was an interesting tale of how the poets ruled and the poets lived back then.
Yeah, man, and there's so much like that in beat literature. In the Olkusz studios, we have a library, and I have so much of it. I mean, it's all Ricky's books, but he lets anybody who comes here read, like, especially if they stay. And Dharma Bums, man, it's like, it's a novel, but Kerouac wrote this thing that goes right into that, talking about the poets and how they live. Like, the book begins at a house party, I think, in Brooklyn in the 40s or the 50s. And you feel like you're right there. The language, the reality index. I'll tell you, man, the Beats got poems. They got poems like crazy. So,
Why, Slow-Mo Joe, even though we mention our poems, we gotta mention the legends. The legends who made poetry what it is today.
absolutely, absolutely, I can dig it. I mean, Colossus, Wilfred Owens and Allen Ginsberg, I mean, you gotta pay them their due. I mean, you heard for yourself how vital that stuff still is after sitting on shelves for decades. But anyway, this has been the Slow-Mo Joe Poetry Show. I am Twilight Cricket.
I'm Slow-Mo Joe.
So I'm going to do a quick plug from the Olkusz Network. The Olkusz Network is my home base. Features the writings of Richard Olkusz, his poetry and prose. Check out the audio book of his first novel, Malforia Volume 1, on the channel Oakwood's Afternoty. Check out his spoken word CD, Machinations of the Cybernetic Phantom God, which has been uploaded to episodes on a channel called Quantum Posy, which features the poetry of Richard Olkusz. And check out Temporality's Shadow, the paranormal podcast with the Spirit Radio, the wormhole called Arcanon 1. I occasionally read from certain works, scriptures, and works of mythology into the spirit radio. And then we sweep the band of the radio so that we can record possible vocal anomalies. The Olkusz Network, audiobooks, poetry, spoken word, talk, paranormal investigations, a creative baptism for every day. Check us out on Spreaker.com. Go to Amazon Kindle for ebooks of Richard Olkusz's work.
This is Slow Mo Joe, and we're going to invite a special guest on the podcast. This is very rare, and we're very fortunate, but we pulled strings with the Joseph Evaldi Network, and we got him on. And he's a busy man. Without further ado, Joe Vexter.
Wow. Mr. Vexter, it's always a pleasure to see you. I didn't realize that you were here.
Thank you. This is Joe Vexter, Ace Reporter. And I am on to plug. Where are the plugs? I do not know. But Joseph Evaldi asked me to plug a few things for him. One was his book of seasons. It goes from fall to winter, the death of a season, the spring, the birth, the summer, the in-between rest season, back to fall. It's a interesting book, has management involved, it has a lot of other stuff too. Very good book, check it out. And also, in audio, A Soul Warrior's Journey is going to be coming out. And it's going to be coming out in November, in December. Either or.
Soul Warrior's Journey on audiobook, book of the seasons, getting ready to touch down. Joseph Evaldi's got a lot of stuff going on, folks.
Yeah.
Check him out, Joseph Evaldi brand.
But I'm Joe Vexter. I'm an Ace Reporter.
I heard from my friend Curtis Bearhart that you were a doctor of journalism. Is that true?
I don't believe any of those.
Oh, I got you right.
But actually, Joseph Evaldi asked me to come on the show with Twilight Cricket because I wanted to get an interview with Twilight Cricket.
No, I had no idea. I think I'm rather unprepared for this. What is the substance of this interview?
The substance of the interview is asking you about the information of some of your poetry books. Could you talk about some of them?
Well, as you know, I read the poetry of Richard Andrew Olkusz, or Richard Olkusz, on Amazon. And for sale now on Kindle, we have 3 of Ricky's poetry books. We have The Muses, Signs and Wonders. We have The Muses, Subjective Hypernova of Poesy. And we have Etherealist Gnosis. Muses, Signs and Wonders, to my understanding, came back from the mid-aughts, 2003, 2004. It was originally published then, so it represents his earliest efforts. Then we have Muses, Subjective Hypernova, which has poems from all over the place, but to my understanding, its culmination is around 2010 to 2011. And of course, Etherealist Gnosis, which represents his evolution into etherealist poetry, which is his final effort and what may be what he is known for at the end of the day. Etherealist poesy is very experimental and very out there.
As a reporter, and it is my job to do this. what is your favorite poem that you wrote?
Well, I got lots of poems I wrote, but my favorite poem that Richard Andrew Olkusz ever wrote is Out of Signs and Wonders, the Muse of Signs and Wonders. It's the very first poem from Out of Peace. Most people who read that poem have a great affection for it because it's very, very beautiful language, but it's also timeless in the way that it flows. There's just something about it. And I agree with most other people that it's exceptional.
Very good.
Yeah, I thought so, man. Check him out on Amazon Kindle, folks. Richard Olkusz.
And as Joe Vector, I'm a very busy man. And Joseph Alexander Evaldi asked me to ask Twilight Cricket questions. And I'm going to step off the podcast and I'm going to let Slow-Mo Joe and Twilight Cricket close.
See, that's Joe Vector, folks. Professional. He's all about the process. And you can see how that benefited. Nice quick interview. Now we bid him farewell and welcome Slow-Mo Joe back to the mic.
Slow-Mo Joe. And I am gonna close the show. And I could read this. It is. This is the Slow-Mo Joe Poetry Show. This is the vehicle of expression woven into words. It is the Slow-Mo Joe Timeless Poetry Show. And I am Slow-Mo Joe, and this is
Twilight Cricket.
And have a very blessed night.
Go in harmony, folks. Thanks for listening. See you next time.